Okay guys, this isn't really an update on the plants, seeing as how I'm basically in 500-pound mode at this point just because of all the issues I've had and just kind of trying to get them fixed. First of all, let's talk about this orbit timer that I've got that's for my sprinklers. This is not the easiest thing to program. It seems like it would be, but it's actually a little more confusing. I had this thing set wrong. Pardon my camera work there. I had this thing set wrong for a few days in a row, and one of the things about this timer is that the instructions are not clear on what you are not doing with this timer. So obviously there's 3 different programs you can run this on, but I only need one program. Now, what you are not doing with this particular timer is you are not setting a specific start time for each station. You are not doing that. What you are doing is setting a start time for the program. So right now it's set to auto, which is just the run mode. So once you get your time set and your date set correctly, you go to start time, right? And you set the start time. I want to start at 5:30. Then if you hit enter, then it goes to it switches over here, number 2. That is not station 2. That is start time number 2. So you can have a program start at multiple times per day. But if you're like me and you screwed up and you thought that that was station 2, what ends up happening is you set 4 different start times for your program. So what is the program? The program is how long each station is running. Now you can see the station numbers. Hang on, I gotta open my door. Now you can see the station numbers up there in the corner. Station 1 is gonna run for 10 minutes. When it's finished, it shuts off and goes to station 2. Station 2 will run for 20 minutes. When it's finished, it will shut off, go to station 3, 20 minutes. When it's done, it shuts off. Station 4, 10 minutes. And then when it's done, the program is complete. So the entire program goes for 60 minutes. Now, if you're like me and you screwed up and you set that program to start at 4 different times thinking that this was your stations, then you are watering each section 4 times instead of once. So you're going to end up with a lot of water out there. Now, fortunately, once giant pumpkin plants get to a certain size, it's difficult to overwater them. So it didn't really hurt my plants to do that, but it was quite confusing and frustrating. I've not seen too many videos explaining exactly how to program this thing correctly, at least in the sense of what you are actually doing with each setting. So anyway, once you have your start time for that particular program and then you set how often each station is going to run, then you can set it to auto and then it'll work the way you want it to. I just did a test program on this a little bit ago and it does work that way. All right, so that's the timer. Second thing is, let's take a look at this. I took this out of the mix. This is one of those cheap things you can get on Amazon. Well, this sort of thing, it only really works if it's at either the beginning of the line or the very end of the line. And with impact sprinklers, it's pretty, I would say it's ineffective. It's not really siphoning. Even with the booster pump on it, the flow was restricted in such a way that it was just sucking air. I had this thing taped up so it wasn't sucking air into the line while it was running. But yeah, as you can see, there's still water in this 50-gallon drum. It's and it wasn't siphoning. So I've taken it out. Basically, for this sort of setup, I would need a powered fertilizer injector, which the cheapest ones are about $120 on Amazon. That's probably what I'll start with, see how long it gets me. And then that manifold down there, well, it's not even a manifold, it's just a garden hose splitter. That thing's leaking. There's water all over the floor. So I'll probably have to put together a new manifold. I don't know if I use PEX or go to CPVC. pipe where you have to glue all the fittings together. It might actually be cheaper to do it that way. I have the tools to do PEX and PEX crimping, but I guess I also have PVC glue, so I might use that instead. This run is still fine. It's just I might have to make a new manifold there. So anyway, just a little technical update on my situation. Something else I would show you. Oh boy, it's pretty warm in there. I out here. So you saw I had my my water supply teed off at the booster pump. Well, that goes to this silcock right here that I put in, and so I have an extra hose out here, and I have it. And then I installed this what's called a changeover switch. So right now on this setting, it's set. The pump is set to get power from the relay that's set off by the timer. However, if I'm using a hose end sprayer, obviously I want to use the pump because I'm going to need that flow. So if I want to do that, I switch over to number 2. You can hear it turns on. It just turns the pump on. So I can do that too. So I've got a pretty good setup here for irrigation. Now if I could just get these plants healthy. Quick update, we did amputate over here where we think yellow vine struck. I think I'm gonna have to do some more. I'm seeing yellow over here on this side of the plant. This side still looks okay. Matter of fact, these secondaries are still growing. There's a pumpkin, there is a pollinated pumpkin on that one. But I think I'm gonna have to take quite a bit of this off. And this vine here, where the pumpkin is, if it hasn't gone too far, this could almost be the new main. I've cut a number of secondaries off of it, but you know, whatever, you know, it could, if it works, it works. But yeah, it looks like the problem is over here in this area. You can see those, especially those 2 leaves right there, are starting to degreen a little bit. Casper's is still chugging along. Oh, look at that, a little, is that a dragonfly? Landed right on top of that stick. How about that? We get a close-up on that. Horsefly, no, it's a dragonfly, it's a darner. Just like in the Zelda games, cold darner, because it's blue, right? So this is still my main. It's still Cobra, but I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen with this one. To be honest, I kind of like this better, so I might be cutting that one off and making this the main because this one just looks better. There is a pumpkin on it. Looks like that's going to open not tomorrow, but the next day. So we'll come back out tomorrow and kind of make a decision on that. Let's take a look at 746 over here. 746 has not been affected by squash bugs as of yet that I can tell. I'd like to see a stronger grow tip on the main though, so I don't know. There was a pumpkin there. That's a little too close to the crown. I'd rather take that one that's at the tip. And funny thing about this one, the first couple of secondaries flat vined, which is kind of funny. So yeah, I mean this one's flat vined. You can see where there's each node is throwing 2 leaves instead of 1, or at least that one did. And it's kind of, yeah, it's just kind of growing weird. But I think that's because there is no secondary on the other side, so it flat vined to make up for the lack of a secondary on that side, I guess. I don't know. This weird plant. But main thing is it's straightened itself out over here. The main vine is not flat, is not double vine. So anyway, that looks okay. I'm just hoping, you know, I'd like to get at least something going on out here, but I also want to be able to solve some of the problems that I've been having. So We also have insecticidal soap and pyrethrin, however it's pronounced. Now, I'm not going to spray. I'm not going to spray right now. It's going to rain this evening, so. Plus, this area has been overloaded with water, so I'm not sure it would be there'd be much point in doing that. These secondaries here, boy, these grew out. It's time to cut those off. They have reached the end of the patch right there. I let a rogue tertiary grow right there accidentally. It's just been hard to keep up. I've been remodeling the kitchen, and it's diverted my attention away from the patch. Unfortunately, it seems like something every year tends to do that to me. So one of these years, maybe my wife will not give me a project to do. Anyway, all right, well, we'll come back with another update if there is something to report.